Hey, what's up? So, you can see by the title, today's video is about, why go on? Why? What's the point? What purpose does it serve to continue on in an evil world where everything just tends to suck, you know? I mean, you can make your own happiness out of it and you can push through it, but ultimately like the world is always pushing back against you. Always pushing back against you, it seems like, or at least me. Just keep in mind everything I say is subjective to myself. So if you don't experience the same thing, that's fine and that's good. But for people like me and people who feel like me, this is kind of for you. So I can bring up Bible verses, talk about how you gotta run the race to win, and you have to hold what you got. And ultimately, the prize is after this life, so you have to let go of what's going on now. And how everything is basically an illusion. This life isn't real. The world isn't real. You know, most people aren't real. It's all fake. It's like trying to hold sand in your fingers, like it just slips through. Nothing has substance to it. You try to hold on with all you've got, and it still just cracks and breaks. And so it's better to just let it go. It's better to just completely let it go, but that's not easy. It's easier said than done. Because you can just sit here and say, "Oh, well, you know, just let it go, dude. Just just keep it moving. Don't worry about other stuff. Be confident and understand that God has your back and that's all you need." But that's just a sentence. Those are just words. It's just noises that strung together, without a objective meaning. So the lived experience of what's really going on here and how things really are, for me at least, is like torturous. It's downright, evil the way this world is constructed. But it's a product of ourselves. We are responsible for it at the same time. So you can't take the position that you're a victim, because you're not. You're not a victim. You have the power to change this, and you have the power to excuse me. You have the power to keep it, to make things the way you want them to be, through your subjective awareness of it. But that's not no one is given the guidelines exactly how how to change life the way that you want it to be. You know, I try to share my thoughts on it and give out what I think are good ways to do it, and kind of suggest things in a parabolic and a symbolic nature. But nothing about that process can really be said straight up. Only the evil version. The evil version comes with guidebooks and laws and rules and language. Black magic and sorcery. Those things can be described in the world because they are of the world. Because trying to manipulate the world for material gain is of it, and so it can be described. But when you're trying to manipulate your life in a positive manner towards spiritual awakening and towards spiritual awareness, there's no language for that. The Bible does a pretty dang good job, but all the Bible does, this is not a cut down on the Bible at all. It's very, very powerful. However, it opens the door. Christ opens the door in your mind. He is the key. But once that door is open, like, you have to kind of stumble around and figure out like what the hell's going on here. What you're supposed to be doing. I know that process is very difficult, and I know it's hard. And even though all this stuff is fake and it's all an illusion, you still have to live in it and wake up every day. It's not easy. Some people have it easier than others, subjectively. But you don't really know what they ever have going on, so don't judge people and don't assume that. Don't think that you ever truly understand what someone else is going through, because you don't. My life may be easier than yours. a lot easier or maybe harder. Who knows? There's no reason to assume things. But if your life is difficult for you, then just understand that it's difficult for everyone. No one has it truly easy, and no one really gets to do what they want to do all the time. They really don't. You have this attitude. I have this thought of like, why can't I just do whatever I want at any given time? You know, I don't want bad things. I don't want to do bad stuff. I don't want to hurt or murder or kill people or do anything like that. I just want good things. I want things to be good. I want things to be positive, and I want things to be the way they're supposed to be. Like the lion laying with the lamb. To where everyone can get along harmoniously and there's peace and there's no conflict and there's communication. We can see eye to eye, which is impossible in this, material form because of how we're made and how we're constructed. The differences between us on a genetic level. We each have a different time track that we're on, and it's hard to lay one over the top of the other and have it exactly match so that you can experience someone else's reality on a base and objective level. It's like impossible. So with that being said, if you're like me and you're feeling isolated and alone, and it's like Satan gives you a path out to the same way God does. But God's path out is generally, it appears harder than Satan's path out, Because Satan's path out for me is like going back and talking to people online and doing things I shouldn't do, sexual depravity and just doing things wrong, things that aren't supposed to be done. But it's comforting to me, you know. I quit all that, and in the time after that since, it's been difficult because that's like my crutch that I had, like falling back on the crutch just to keep it moving, because one of my legs is broken in a spiritual sense, and it allows me to still move forward. And without that crutch, it's difficult to keep it moving, But Satan knows that, and that's why he provides that crutch. He provides that easy way out so that you can continue on but still not fulfill your goal. It's like you're moving but you're not moving, It's like you're on a conveyor belt and you're trying to walk against the conveyor belt, and it seems like you're moving forward because your legs are moving, your feet are moving, but you're not actually moving forward, because without spiritual growth there is no moving forward in time. You have to complete the process of spiritual growth in order for this experience to come to a conclusion. And the only way to do that is to deny yourself, the flesh, because the flesh is your enemy. Your body is your enemy. It's always going to make you want to do things that are wrong. And it's going to feel good and it's going to feel comforting to be in parasocial relationships, sexual relationships, etc., which I really don't even experience. I don't even get to experience that. So in a way, like, I'm blessed because, I'm deprived of that purposefully and I don't have a way out of it. So God has blocked that exit out for me so that I can, have a greater, momentum heading forwards, So that's the good part about it. The bad part is that now you're here. Now you're living this every moment of every day, and it doesn't make it any easier on a material level knowing that a lot of the time. It's still difficult. In fact, it's way more difficult than it would have been before if you had continued on in your sin. So this is a picture of Job here, that I have up. Job kind of had the same expression as like, what is the purpose of this? Like, is this really necessary? What have I done to be, what have I done to deserve this? But his friends rebuke him, and one of them says, like, how can you know what you deserve and what you don't deserve and what's real and what's not real? Like, only God knows. Like, you're not God. So by saying that, even if you can't find the ultimate reason for it, God knows, and you have to trust that moving forward because it's for the best. I don't think God punishes you in the way that you think. God doesn't punish you just to punish you. In fact, he doesn't punish you at all. God fixes your problems. In order to fix those problems, it takes pain in the flesh, and in the physical world a lot of the times, because that's the only way to separate yourself from it. It's like having your hand stuck to a table with super glue. You're gonna have to rip your hand off, and it's gonna hurt, and it might leave some skin behind, but it is what it is. If your left hand sins against you, you cut it off. If your eye sins against you, you pluck it out. What's a little skin left behind? It doesn't matter. You're gonna have to do that in order to move forward. And God will wait on you. He'll wait for however long is necessary. But it's all up to how long you want it to take. It's up to how long you want it to be in order to find your peace and your happiness. And you can put off the pain and the suffering and the trial for as long as you want to, but eventually it's going to come to a head and you're going to be forced to face it. So you may as well face it on your own terms. It's like it talks about how every knee will bow. Like everybody's going to bow to God and understand it in the end. So you may as well get started now so that it's not so difficult on you. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm getting started now. And while lately I've been kind of sad, kind of lonely, and I guess that has to do with the whole, quitting all that other stuff I was doing for good this time and letting it go. It was like my only sense of like interpersonal relationships. And I've never had a wife or girlfriend or anything, so there's like no comfort in that sense. And you're just kind of bare and naked in the desert, wandering for years. Kind of what it feels like. And it seems like no one wants to communicate, and it's kind of difficult because that kind of support would be helpful too. But it's like it's for a purpose, because that's letting you come closer to God, because it's like, hey, don't worry about them. Don't worry about any of that. Like, just come to me when you feel like that, and I will help you. And He will. You have to pray about it, and you have to. Well, you don't have to do anything. It's the wrong verbiage there, but you should. If you want to get out of that rut, you should pray about it to God and have Him help you, because it says in the Bible, "Ask and you shall receive. Anything that you ask of Christ shall be granted." And so if you don't ask, you're never going to get it. And so I mentioned in another video that you ask a lot of things subconsciously. Well, consciously, is good too, because when you focus your attention on it consciously, that like, elevates it. It focuses it in, like a lens, like a magnifying glass, against the sunlight. It like points it to a single beam like a laser. And you're able to burn through that issue a lot quicker. And I suggest you do that. Meditate, pray, do whatever you do to get into that sense of mind, and then keep doing it. Be consistent. That's the only way out. I know there are people out there that feel like me and that suffer in the same way, and I want you to know that you're not the only one. And if you ever feel like communicating, just drop a comment or something. I will communicate with you. I will help you, if it's meant to be that. If it's not, then it won't happen. But if you're meant to do that, then it will. That's just how it is. Believe a lot of things end because they should end. A lot of things start because they should start. In fact, all things, because God's laid out a plan for us all. So keep your chin up out there, man. I know it's tough. Just relax. Take a deep breath. You'll be all right. Just remember Job, man. At the end of the day, he became a lot wiser because of what he went through. And that helped him. That's how I see it, at least. When you have people up in your grill all the time about nonsense and things that really don't matter, just keep that in mind. It's not their fault. They know not what they do, and you got to keep pushing forward. God bless. Hope y'all have a good day. I'll see you later.